I'm very excited to do this movie.
Yeah, me too.
Dieter Bastian says it's like my autobiography. I wouldn't say that.
No. I mean, the title might make you think that, but...
I don't know. There's certain elements of it I identified with. Here we go.
Here we go.
Talk more about it.
We are, for sure.
I'm really excited. I love this film.
It is a good one.
It won the best international film, not foreign film, but best international film. Greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy verisimilitude. That I can't even say my favorite word. And of course, your sommelier of cinema, Robert Meyer Burnett. But you are not here to see me. You're here to see you.
Me.
And who? Why don't you introduce yourselves to the folks at home?
I shall. I am Elizabeth Gwendolyn Bell, the ace, the arbiter of cinematic excellence, and the enchantress of entertainment.
Yes, and this is Elizabeth's Whining About Movies, episode number 129.
Crazy.
Another round. Directed by
round.
Thomas Vinterberg from this year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, from last year, 2020. But, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about him. Why don't we, first of all, as you all know, we drink wine on this show. And tonight we have a Belle like you, Elizabeth Bell. How do you say this in French?
Indeed. Belle épine.
Belle épine? Épine?
Mm-hmm.
You like the peens.
Épine.
So, this is a Syrah Merlot. Where did this come from? Merlot. A Syrah Merlot. I had a little problem saying my enunciation there was not good.
Did you pregame?
I did not.
Did you have another round?
I did not have another round.
What was the question?
Did you get this from...
Oh, this is from the wine club that I am a part of right now, which is called Wine Awesomeness.
Wine Awesomeness. So we got Julius Goodwin, our sommelier, sending us the last show's bottle of wine, and this came from...
Wine Awesomeness.
Belle Épine, right there, ladies and gentlemen, Belle Épine. So it's only fitting. I wanted to line up Sazeracs so we could drink like 8 of them during the show, but that might have been counterproductive.
Yeah, I think so.
So anyway, we're gonna
thank you.
We're gonna do whining because the show's called Whining About Movies. They drank wine in this movie. They seduced Mads Mikkelsen to drink wine in this film. So cheers to this movie. I can already smell this taste. It smells good.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. What do you think?
Ooh, lovely.
It's lovely. So first of all, I got to say that this movie was directed by Thomas Vinterberg. And for you film fans out there, Thomas Vinterberg, along with Lars von Trier and a few other of his compatriots, started the Dogma 95 movement in 1995, where it was a stripped down approach to filmmaking. Things like no lights, you had to use only what was there. It was a very stripped down approach, and he actually directed the first of the Dogma 95 movies, which came out, called A Celebration, that has one of my favorite moments in film in it. If you've ever seen A Celebration, you will know the moment when somebody's giving a toast to a family in a family gathering. It's quite awesome. And he directed this film. Now, this film, what's interesting about this movie is his daughter, Ida, was killed 4 days into filming this movie.
Wow.
And he ended up filming a lot of the movie at his daughter's school. And it was sort of a celebration of her life. It's dedicated to her. And he did not direct a week of this movie because he was mourning her loss. But I obviously...
So I didn't realize... I mean, you just told me this right before we came in here. I didn't realize it was during filming that
Yes,
happened.
it was during filming.
Wow.
During filming of the movie. And, yeah, very sad story. But, he got the movie done. And I love this movie. I found it very affecting and very, it really spoke to where I'm at in my life, I suppose, with my birthday this week. This is my birthday week, and you ask yourself, where are you at in life? And this movie was very much about that. And it surprised me, I don't know if it's true for you, but it surprised me how emotional, like I thought it was going to be more of a comedy.
Yeah.
And while it did make me laugh, but it's certainly not a comedy.
No, not at all. Yeah, I mean, as an American, you think, oh, a drinking movie. Of course, it's going to be hilarious. Like, what's the movie in Vegas?
The Hangover.
Yeah, like The Hangover. You think, oh, it's going to be a funny drinking movie, but it's not. It's very heartwarming.
Well, it is very heartwarming, but it's also very true.
It is.
I mean, I think what's really interesting to
very
me.
true.
Have you been to Denmark?
I have been to Sweden.
Yeah, I've spent 2 weeks in Denmark. It's an amazing country. But like a lot of Europe, they have a very different relationship to alcohol
Oh yeah.
than we do.
Yeah, yeah.
Like in America, I think that well, we live in LA, so we don't have a real drinking culture. We don't have a pub culture because you have to drive everywhere. Whereas if you live in Boston or Chicago or New York or any of these great cities, they have pub cultures. But we in America, I think ultimately because of things like alcoholism, we frown on alcohol use.
Yeah, plus our background is very Puritan. It was like drinking is bad, and we had prohibition, and so it has this stigmatism, drinking in America. Whereas in Europe, drinking is a social activity and it's not frowned upon. People have, wine with dinner every night. It's not a big deal like it is here.
Right, and so
And
when you
here-
grow up with alcohol, it's not like, ooh, you have to sneak it when you're a teenager. It's
Exactly.
it's more of a, it's more normalized.
Yeah, see here you sneak around when you're young because you're not allowed, and then even when you are allowed, it's still kind of a secretive, kind of a rebel kind of thing to do, to get drunk and but even in this film, like he goes out with his friends and they go to this very elegant restaurant. It's not like they're at some grungy bar.
Right. So, Elizabeth, what is this movie about?
This movie is about life.
Well, I mean, a plot, yes, as all movies are, unless you're just watching a corpse, a cadaver in a mortuary or in a
You
morgue.
could watch a zombie movie.
You could watch the autopsy of Jane Doe, and then it's about death. But I mean, this movie is it's about four friends.
It's about four
Friends, and they're all
they're middle-aged men.
they're middle-aged men. One of them, there's four. Mads Mikkelsen plays Martin. Thomas Bo Larsen plays Tommy. Lars Ranthe, I think, is Peter. And Magnus Malang is Nikolai. And two of them, Martin, our main character, and Nikolai are both married, and they have kids.
Right.
And Nikolai is the youngest. He's turning 40. It's his
It's
birthday.
his birthday.
Mads Mikkelsen Martin was
But all four of them work at the same high school.
they were in the same high school.
Yeah.
As teachers, and then Tommy's a coach. He's the PE teacher.
Right.
And I guess it's up their version of high school, but sometimes Tommy teaches
Oh, yeah,
the
he
younger.
He has young
He
kids
teaches
too.
younger kids on the weekends
Yeah.
and things like that. So, but all four of these men are sort of, I think, they're suffering from middle age. I wouldn't call it a crisis, but more they're lost. They're adrift.
They're in a rut.
They're in
I
a
would
rut.
say. So life has gone on, and they have their jobs, and they go to work, and then they come home, and they're with their families, and then they take care of their families, and the next day they just do it all over again.
And they're sleepwalking through life.
They are.
And
Which is very easy to do, especially when you're raising kids.
and yeah, Nikolai's got 3 kids, and he talks about how they sleep and pee on him, and he can't
Right,
get a
his
good
kids
night's.
are young, but Martin's kids are teenagers.
Martin's kids are teenagers, but Martin used to be a jazz dancer, which they
Well,
ref-
he
was-
took jazz dancing classes when he was young.
jazz ballet.
Jazz ballet.
He was doing jazz
So
ballet,
they were
and
teasing him at this birthday dinner.
but so these 4 men are sort of at a crossroads in their lives.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're not only disconnected. Nikolai and Martin are not just disconnected from their wives. They're disconnected from their jobs. There's no
Well,
real.
Nikolai, I mean, he's young. He's still young, and his family is very young. But now he's just at the beginning of getting into that family rut where you come home, they even show scenes of his wife saying, "Don't forget to pick up this and this and this." Actually, a couple times they've showed her telling him, "Go pick up this from the store. Don't forget this." And so you get into this rut, and you start.
Well, and also she's from a family who has a lot of money.
Yeah.
He says at one point she's wealthy.
Right. They live in this gorgeous house.
They live in a gorgeous house, and she's wealthy, and he's like the school teacher that probably doesn't make a lot of money. But so there's their lives are not great. But it's not like, what's interesting is it's not, it's what everybody suffers. Especially any man can really recognize this. There's a reason why middle-aged men have a high suicide rate, I think, in the United States. Because you get into this, where are your friends, where are your family, like, what are you supposed to do? I think a lot of people don't live up.
You lose your purpose, you lose your hope.
But it's not that bleak. I mean, these guys are living nice lives, but they're just
in
adrift.
A rut. They're
in a drift. I wouldn't call them in a rut. The ruts don't last very long. This has been, like with Martin, it's been going on for years. Like, he's been detached from his wife.
I didn't realize that rut connotes a certain amount of time.
I think a rut doesn't mean years long.
I think it can.
Well, I guess it could.
I never knew it had a time limit.
Well, I just always thought of rut as being a short-term thing.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, they've been doing the same thing over and over for years.
So,
especially Martin, his kids are older, so his wife works nights, and he barely even sees her, so they're not even communicating anymore at all, and his kids just grunt at him. He told them he was going to go to this birthday dinner, and nobody even paid attention. And yes.
And then Tommy has not much of a life. You kind of get the idea he's divorced, like he once was married.
He's a single guy.
He's the oldest.
He's an old dog that he takes care of. But other than that, he's just, alone.
And then Peter, their other friend, doesn't have a girlfriend, isn't dating, doesn't have much of a life. So Peter and Tommy are lonely guys.
They are.
And then they collectively, I think it's Nikolai who comes up or is reading a philosopher. Is reading, like, I think, a Dutch philosopher. Mm-hmm. Not Dutch, a Danish philosopher. And what does this Danish philosopher say?
He says something about how we should all be born with 0.05 blood alcohol.
Blood alcohol. That if you have 0.05 blood alcohol, then you're more happy, you're more open, you're more energetic, open to experience. And I want to say that I wholeheartedly believe in this philosophy of, I wish my blood alcohol level.
Also, his idea was that if you could keep your blood alcohol level to 0.05, that you would accomplish more, you'd be more happy, you'd be more socially, inept.
So I feel that way when the inevitable legalization of MDMA happens. I'm really looking forward to that. But no, I mean, so these guys decide to try it.
They're at the birthday dinner, and Martin is hesitant to drink. He's like really depressed, and the first scene is him teaching in his class, and it's like the kids are so bored out of their minds, and he
doesn't even get the facts right. He doesn't get the facts right. World War I to World War II to just Normandy, crazy.
So he gets called into a meeting. Well, that's the next day, but the parents are complaining, the kids are complaining, they have this exam, and he's just a really boring teacher. And so
they want to go to university, and their grades
they're worried about their grades. But so they have this birthday dinner, the four of them, the four friends, and they start drinking, and Martin starts crying. He's crying at the table. Because his life is, nobody notices him anymore. His family doesn't notice him. He's estranged, and I mean his wife and his, they have a relationship that's strained and
non-existent, basically.
Yeah, they just pass each other, and he even asked her when she was leaving for work, "Do you think I'm boring?" And her answer was, "Well, you're not like you were."
Yeah, I mean his wife flat out says it.
Yeah, ouch.
Yeah. And so they decide to try this experiment.
Yes.
Where they give themselves rules, like Ernest Hemingway. They're not going to drink on the weekends, and they're not going to drink past 8:00 at night during the week.
Right, like Hemingway. Because he was so successful at writing his novels that they thought, okay, we'll do it Hemingway's way. But they want to not go above 0.5, and they want to try to keep that consistently from 8 in the morning till 5, and then after 5 or after 8 p.m. they're not supposed to drink anymore, and they're not supposed to drink on the weekends.
That's right.
And they're taking notes, so they're gonna like write a paper on it.
Yeah, they're doing this is all research.
Yeah, they're making it like research so that it's more legit in their minds.
and we get to watch all four of them.
Mm-hmm.
The effects of this alcohol is at first beneficial.
Yes.
The Martin comes out of his shell as a teacher.
So initially, when they're on that lower dose of alcohol, he becomes a little more lively. But then after a week or so, I don't know how much time goes by, they decide to increase the blood level amount, and he's like, they start really drinking during the day, all day long, getting like, tipsy.
But clearly early on, Tommy, the older one, is developing a real problem. There's a very funny scene where the janitor has found bottles and bottles of stashed empty bottles, half-empty bottles in his gymnasium office.
Yeah.
And then
I think it was where they keep the equipment.
Yeah, the equipment, and the administration catches on. Is someone drinking here?
Yeah.
And so the foreshadowing is there. But they keep drinking, and for the most part, even Tommy, he has a relationship with the runt of his young soccer team. These kids, they look like they're in elementary school still. And this one kid, Specs, because he wears glasses, the nerdy kid, Tommy helps this kid out and really
he becomes fatherly, and he sees that the other kids don't accept him, and so he takes him under his wing. And at one point when he's really drinking, he's directing them how to kick the soccer ball, pass the ball to this person, pass it, and Specs gets to make a goal,
score a goal during a real game,
and so he's just like so happy, and the kids all embrace the little kids, so that was a beautiful little moment.
And at the same time, these guys they're almost having a childlike sense of fun, all four friends.
They're having a lot of fun, and you see in Martin's class that he becomes this really dynamic teacher and has these really fun lessons, and all of his students are really into it, and they're just amazed at how awesome he's made the class.
And what's also interesting is that Martin is tying in, like, some of the questions he asks about are men from history like FDR and Churchill that were big drinkers. So like he's using this whole drinking thing to inform what's going on, and
even to motivate the kids. He talks about because they have a game, the teenagers have a game where they in teams carry this case of beer, and they run around a lake. And they have to stop at each bench and drink. Each team member has to drink a bottle of beer, and if they throw up, then they lose time on their clock. And so it's this game they play. Anyway,
I want to play that game.
He ties that in. He ties that into his lesson, and motivates the kids to learn by using their drinking game.
Yes, and also at the same time, his wife that he's Annika, his wife, he says we should go camping, we should go kayaking, and we should go out camping with the kids. She's like, we haven't done that in like 8 years. And he's like, maybe we should. And so they have this great camping trip, and they have the families really has a good time.
Like they had before.
Yeah, and Monica and Annika make love and everything. And she says...
Monica and Annika? Ooh.
Oh, Monica and Annika. I mean, Martin and where's my mind at? Martin and Annika, but then...
Who's Monica?
And then, I don't know who Monica is. So what happens, though, is that at that time, as
they're camping, like, they have a really intimate moment, and they have sex, and...
They're talking about, I feel closer to you, and she's like, I feel closer to you, too, but...
And then they say something like, it's been a long time, and then she says something under her breath...
It's been too long.
And he, ding, 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 understands what's going on here.
Yeah, she's clearly been having an affair, but we don't see it.
No.
What is great, you don't ever see it, and
it's only hinted at that point.
Right. And then, of course, but what I really love about this movie is it's very low key. You know, and I think Thomas Vinterberg, coming from the Dogma 95 movement, even though this movie is not filmed like a Dogma 95 film when they had video cameras and very little light, I think this movie's very naturalistic. It looks like a lot of it is shot under natural light.
Mm-hmm,
and
for sure.
because of the low-key nature of it, it feels very naturalistic and very real. You know, I talk about verisimilitude.
You feel like you're watching people's lives.
Yeah, this movie has peak verisimilitude.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and it just feels really naturalistic, and it's not overly melodramatic, and it's not histrionic. It feels real slice of life and
definitely
very immediate and very real. And it does feel also at the same time
like a lot of European films.
Yeah, very Danish.
Very Danish.
I mean, it's because their lives are there. It felt like it was very authentic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it felt like, and what I loved about being in Denmark is people are like this. Just say, come on over.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody's like open. Let's have a party. Nobody's judgmental. It's
yeah.
So I really liked that, but at the same time, you could really feel this bubbling melancholy or this with the lives of these guys, like. You know, they're not extraordinary people, nor are they supposed to be, but you still feel a lot for them. And the fact that they...
Well, at one point you learned that Martin was going to get his PhD, and he was like really on a track to becoming something more than just a high school teacher. But he gave that up when his kids were young, because his kids were young and he had to help take care of the kids.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's one of the strengths of this movie is I think a lot of men in particular can identify with this, because there isn't a lot of movies. I mean, there's a TV show, Men of a Certain Age, but I think that there's a real, especially in this day and age where traditional masculine roles are no longer traditional masculine roles, and men are I think by the time they get to middle age, they're lost. And there's no one to help you out. I mean, you turn to your friends if you have them, but a lot of men don't have them. Luckily, this friend group. And what's interesting is, Nikolai decides to take up, like, he talks about, the philosopher talks about when you reach a level called ignition.
Right.
When you get to a certain level, like, you're either going to get, like...
You're going to become an alcoholic.
Or go home. Stop drinking. And he's like, I want to reach ignition.
Yeah.
You know, and the wives are gone, and with the kids, and the four guys just decide, and they make Sazeracs, and they have a night where they go full on, like no limits.
Yeah.
And it's hardcore.
Yeah. I wonder if those Sazeracs were like at the Edison.
Well, yeah, those are great, but and then they all go way too far. It's just a night of not debauchery, but tremendous drinking to the point where, I mean, really sloppy drunk.
And then they go to a bar, and then
they're supposed to get cod at a grocery store, and they don't have cod, so they go to.
They're making a mess, and then they try to fish themselves, and one of them falls in the water, and so when they go to the bar, the one guy takes his clothes off and he's playing the piano because he's the music teacher. He's playing the piano naked in his underpants, and they're having a great time. And they're like super, super drunk. Like
they reached ignition. They're in orbit.
Yeah.
They're so ignited.
And they're a mess. They are a true mess.
Mess.
Nikolai goes home and he crawls into bed and wets the bed.
Yeah, with his wife and the kids in the bed.
Yeah.
And the wife isn't happy, and she's going to her sister's.
She's pissed, and I would be too.
And clearly, these guys, and
then Martin is found by his neighbors. He had fallen in front of the neighbor's house, and his son comes over, and he takes his dad home. It's heart-wrenching watching the kids react to him finding him drunk.
And you also find out that the kids understand he's been drunk for a long time.
Yeah.
This drinking experiment has not gone unnoticed.
Yes, they have noticed. Which is just, you feel the pain. You're like, oh my God, that's so horrifying and humiliating, really.
And then that morning, when Martin is at
so his wife Annika, she tells him, "Why don't you tell the kids what happened last night?" So he says, "Well, I was drinking and I was drunk." And then what else happens?
Well, they get in a huge fight.
They do, because she tells the kids to leave the room.
Yeah. And they're going to have this conversation, and they talk about waiting for one another to come around. And she's like, I'm tired of waiting for you. I've been waiting for you for so long. And he gets really...
and he's like, well, you haven't been.
Yeah. You haven't been waiting for me, have you?
And then so he confronts her about having an affair. And then he tells her to get out, but then he gets out. And he's just really a mess now, and goes to his friends, and they get drunk again. And it's not good.
No, it's not good. And then time passes because the gash on Martin's head.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to, it's probably months later, for what we all know, months later, and at the school in the morning, the school administration is meeting.
Well, before that happens, he goes to see, he knows his friend Tommy is really, really drunk, and he goes to his house, and Tommy's a mess. He can see now that the drinking has gone too far for Tommy, and
No, that's no, they have the administration meeting first. They have the administration meeting first, and everybody's there, and the teacher says, there's faculty, we found out people have been drinking on campus, and Tommy comes into the school meeting with the administration.
I thought that was
No, it's before. Hammered, and then no, because then he goes home, and then Martin goes to Tommy's house and starts cleaning.
He throws away all the bottles.
And says, I'm going to make it right with school. Everything's going to be okay.
Right.
You know, and so you realize that Tommy, this experiment has caused full-blown alcoholism in Tommy. And then, they don't belabor the point, but the idea is he lost his job. Like, he was dismissed, you know, but you don't see a scene where what I love about this movie, where he's fired, because that would be sort of this maudlin. The movie understands that you as the audience understand that he's getting fired for this.
He's
out. You know, and and it's interesting when Tommy and Martin part, even though they're friends, and Tommy says, you know, Annika and you love her, she loves you, everything's going to be okay.
He was always rooting for them, even when Martin was crying in the restaurant at the birthday party. He was like, you and Annika, you know, you need to work it out.
And then the other three characters, Nikolai, Peter, and Martin, they're back at school teaching, and everything is okay. And then there's a great scene where Peter finds a student who's been held back a year, has had to repeat a year.
Because he's so anxious when he takes exams that he just can't even get through it.
He can't get through it, and Peter says, well, have you ever tried taking a drink before?
Yeah, to calm your nerves.
And Peter really cares and wants his kid to succeed, and he's one of the faculty advisors, and you were freaking out. You thought...
I was, because in America, if you gave a teenager a drink at school, like, you'd be so fired, you'd probably even go to jail.
Well, we're so judgmental that...
It's not judgmental, it's like, because here it's such a horrible stigmatism, and you can't give a teenager a drink, especially a teacher.
Well, right, but that's because we have this whole... I mean, Americans are not comfortable being human a lot of the time.
No, they're not.
We're thousands of years less practiced than the rest of the world at being human beings. So we have
a lot of guilt and angst, and because of our we constantly feel judged, and we're constantly judging, and it's all because of our puritanical background.
But he ends up doing that. Peter shares drinks. He has a bottle of water where the whole time they've been pouring alcohol into thermoses and water bottles to get away with drinking. And this kid has to talk about Kierkegaard and discuss philosophy, and he's able to do it in a very eloquent way.
He stumbles a little bit, and he's like, why don't you take a drink of that water to clear your throat?
Right.
And then the kid is able to give a really good answer.
A really good answer. One of the things that I do love about these characters is that they all really do love teaching.
Mm.
You know, they all, and the movie doesn't have to like, it's not like Stand and Deliver or that Michelle Pfeiffer film. You know, what's that? You know, the one.
Oh yeah.
You know the
where she goes into the.
Yeah, with the rap song.
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember the name of that movie.
Why am I drawing a blank on it? But in America, it would be very melodramatic how they would present. It's very matter of fact, and it shows you these teachers really care about their students, and they love their jobs too. Ultimately,
Yeah.
and the kids graduate, like all the kids that we met through the course of the film. They all graduate, and the movie ends like it begins with this ritual with the kids drinking. We see the game at the beginning of the movie. We don't see the game at the end, but we see them in a graduation bus going through the town in this ritualistic.
Well, before that happens, they all get their grades and they go out into the courtyard and they're starting to celebrate, and then you see you see Nikolai coming towards Martin, and he's there to tell him that Tommy had taken the boat out, and he drowned. He drowned.
He went out of the boat and drowned because he was drunk. Mm-hmm. And then also Martin did meet with Annika and talk about this birthday party, and
he tried to get
her back, and she says
didn't even want to talk about
didn't want to talk about it, didn't want to talk to him. And then as all the kids have realized they've all passed and the celebration begins, Martin gets a text from his wife saying, "I miss you too," because he had said he missed her.
Yeah.
And I missed you too a lot. So as the celebration of the kids happen, and then they go to they go to the funeral, and then they go to a meal.
Yeah, the text didn't come.
Otherwise, the text came at the meal.
Yeah. So they go to the funeral, and then the three friends go to the same restaurant that they had the birthday, and they're having their lunch. And
that's when they see the bus.
They're missing their friend Tommy, but then the bus full of graduates goes by, and the teacher's like, "Let's go join them. Let's celebrate with them." And that's what Tommy would want. And so, Martin is a little hesitant because he's sad. He's depressed. He doesn't have his family. He misses his friend. And as he's walking out, he gets the text from his wife saying, "I miss you too a lot."
A lot.
And that helps him feel hope again, and he goes out and he starts dancing, which the whole movie they talk about him and his jazz ballet, and you never see him dancing the jazz ballet. And at that moment he just goes and he's drinking with the grads and he starts dancing.
And what's really interesting is that end of the movie. I mean, there's bottles, everyone is swigging, they're drinking heavily.
Yeah.
And it's shown as being joyous. Mm-hmm. Like, this film is not an indictment of alcohol.
It's not.
Alcohol, almost like everything else, alcohol is a part of life, and it can be used as a lubricant, as a thing that's fun. But ultimately, yes, like anything else, if it's abused, it's bad.
Right. So they show the extreme of what alcohol can do with Tommy, and then they also show where the kid takes a couple swigs to help him get through his exam.
See, this would never happen in an American movie.
No.
This movie would have been, if it was made in America, it would have been a complete indictment of this kind of behavior.
But it's not. And really, honestly, the movie's more about valuing your relationships and working on those relationships, and alcohol can help you be more socially inept, but you also have to be careful.
Less socially inept.
Right. I keep saying that. That's the second time. Less socially inept, and but it could also be detrimental. So
yeah, and like anything else, it requires you. Alcohol is not inherently bad. In America, alcohol is somehow inherently bad. It's a vice. Mm-hmm. But in this movie, alcohol is blameless. It's you are the one with the problem. If you drink too much, it's your problem. If you're not talking to your wife, it's your problem. The problem is not the alcohol. The problem is you.
Yeah.
And what I liked about this is maybe Tommy was predisposed to being alcoholic, but this movie definitely takes a position that, nope, the problem is you. It's not the alcohol. And I think in America we're like, no,
Yeah.
it's a disease, it's a problem. But I'm saying,
I mean, for a lot of people, it is a problem.
well, of course it is.
But I don't think the film is about alcohol. I think it's about losing your longing for youth and losing that, because they show the teenagers like full of life, they're enjoying life, they're drinking and having fun, and you're socializing, and you have goals, like the one kid wanted to go to medical school, and then you move on in life and you just get into this routine, and you lose that joy of life. Because even in the beginning there's a quote by Kierkegaard about how youth is a dream and the content of dreams is love. And so that's what the movie's about.
Yes. No, absolutely. And what's really interesting is this movie is now going to be remade in America,
Which blows my
starring
mind.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
I don't know why they do that.
Well, because ultimately, if the movie's good, and I think this movie's really good, only a certain amount of people will see this movie because it's in Danish.
But instead of doing that, why not promote this film?
Well, we used to live in a world where they might have done that, but nowadays, unfortunately, they buy things and remake them and look.
I hate when they do that. They take a perfectly great film and they Hollywoodize it.
Well,
And I can't stand that.
It's going to be really interesting to see how they Hollywoodize this movie.
How do you tell this story in America?
Well, first of all, how do you have a movie that shows high school students drinking with joie de vivre and not have one shred of indictment into the celebratory nature of alcohol in these kids?
You can't, unless it's a college campus.
Well, yeah, they're going to do something else, and that's what they'll. But I think if the kids being in college is different, it would change.
Different.
It's like when you're in high school, there's something else about the drinking. Like, I have never seen an American film that presents high school, because they're underage. You're not of legal age. Anyone under 21 years or 18 drinking is always portrayed as being bad.
Well, because our drinking age is 21. In the rest of the world, it's not.
Right. But we still have this indictment. So it's going to be interesting to see if they make this movie domestically, how they're going to change it. And there's going to be, they can't, we just have a tradition. I mean, all the way back to The Lost Weekend, or whatever, these movies about alcoholism in America, and it's going to be...
I mean, alcohol, okay, because we come from a puritanical background, so alcohol is such a no-no that I think people are pushed, or like, you always want what you can't have. And so I think that there's probably a lot of alcoholics in America, more than... I don't know. I'm just talking out of my ass.
Well, no, it's true. I mean,
but
I
it's
think
a real alcoholism is a real problem. Like, people get really hurt.
I think, but alcoholism is a problem.
Families get destroyed by alcoholism.
I think that's true
everywhere.
everywhere,
In no way
though.
would I ever say that, it's not a problem and that everyone should drink.
Oh, no, it absolutely is a problem. I mean, look at Russia's relationship with vodka, for instance.
Yeah.
Do you have a problem? Oh, vodka. Oh, you were diagnosed with cancer? Drink vodka. Everything is... No, I don't mean to say that alcoholism is not a problem, but there's also a culture where it is not...
People overdrink in America because of our background. In Europe, it's never been shamed. You're not shamed for drinking.
And you grew up drinking.
And so you drink it moderately. Of
Right.
course, some people take it overboard, and when you're young, of course, you're gonna party and have fun, but you're basically, in Europe, you drink in moderation. You drink with dinner, you drink with friends,
and your relationship with alcohol begins much younger.
Right.
You're not sneaking it when you're 16.
Exactly.
You've already been drinking wine at dinner. You've had beer, and it's not like, I remember. My father said to me before I went to junior high school, he had pot. He sometimes would have his cigars made with pot in them. And he said to me once, listen, if you want to do drugs or you want to get stoned or something, come to me first, because you want to make sure I got proper stuff. And it was so funny. I had no interest. I'm like, and when my friends were like getting stoned in junior high or high school, I'm like, man, if I want to get stoned, I could just go to my dad. And I thought that, I didn't know if that was reverse psychology on his part, but it was not.
There was no like sneaking around. There
No.
was no thrill of like being bad.
Yeah, no, there was none of that. And I was just like, it took time away from me doing other things. And I thought that was pretty smart on my dad's behalf.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It was good. But I really liked the fact that, you know, this movie in a very naturalistic way, in a very Dogma 95 way, told the story of these guys and where they were at in their lives. And I really, you know, I can't help, I'm having a birthday this week, and you know, I've always, my whole life, I'm like, okay, I need to have a project. For the last 30 years, I've got to be working on something in order to feel my own validity. Like, I don't have to tell people, like, look what I'm working on, but I have to be working on things in order to move forward. And there have been times when I haven't, and right now I'm finishing projects. There's still ongoing things, but you ask yourself, well, is this all I am? Is there nothing more? And as you get older, like, I'm old. You know, and even though I exist in a very youthful world, as these guys did too, they're teaching kids, so they're surrounded by youthful energy and all this, and they see it all. And when you're in that arena, it's hard sometimes to remember where you're at in your own life. And I really felt that this movie did a really good job of encapsulating that day-to-day normal, it's very naturalistic. It's very slice of life, this movie, and I really loved it for that. And by the end, I mean, it's very poignant and moving. Like they don't even show you when Tommy falls off his boat and drowns.
No.
They just show you his old dog and the boat's there, and
the dog's whining.
The dog's whining, and
it's really
the boat.
Sad.
It's really sad, but it's not like you don't see a guy go trip and fall off into the like an American movie would show you that.
It would.
And this movie didn't.
And it probably will.
Yeah, and it probably will. In case you didn't get it.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of this movie presupposes great intelligence on the part of the audience, and I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be movies treated people intelligently.
By the way, although there's no special features, a very nice transfer on this Blu-ray.
WINEing's Peen is here. WINEing's Peen.
Oh, WINEing's Peen is here? There we go, I can see it.
I just think that name's hilarious.
So, I mean, I really like this movie a lot. And it did win Best International Film at the Oscars, so it's not surprising.
It's a great film.
It's a great film, and you know, I'm glad Thomas Vinterberg finished it. He had great tragedy in his life. I mean, the most horrible thing, losing a child. Horrible. But he dedicated the film to her, and it truly honors her, and yeah.
Yeah.
So, I really liked it.
Me too.
We have 3 letters, Elizabeth.
Ooh, 3 letters.
Would you like me to read them?
I would.
Okay. Let's see what our 3 letters are. The first letter, well, first of all, since we've just been talking about the movie, the first letter comes from Mr. Tom Jr. Jackson. Mm-hmm. Hello, Ace and Rob. Today I wanted to write to you about the film Another Round. I watched this movie Monday afternoon, May 3rd, and I have a few thoughts on the film I would like to share if I may. Should he, Kenny?
Yes,
all
absolutely.
Right. Are you sure?
I want to hear.
Now, if I go into spoiler territory, I am sorry. This film is about a teacher played by Mads Mikkelsen, and his life is going that well, both professional, not that well, and both professional and personal. And one night, he goes out to a friend's birthday party, and while he's talking to friends, they have a few drinks, and they get the idea to see what happens if they drink during the day, and they decide to document how it goes. But once 8 p.m. rolls around, they stop drinking. I won't go into too much detail because it will spoil this charming film. I love how this film teetered between comedy and drama, and it keeps your attention pretty well. The film is in Dutch, actually Danish, and has English subtitles, and I still enjoyed it. I love watching foreign films once in a while, and I appreciate their art. I understand that Leonardo DiCaprio and his company have the rights to remake this film for the U.S. Will I see it? Yes, I will. I'm interested in seeing what difference, if any, the film will have. I highly recommend this film very much. It is enjoyable and interesting at the same time. Now, I just want to congratulate you both on your epic return to the world of wine and movies. Ace, to say you were honest with your review of Sucker Punch is the understatement of 2021.
Oops, I'm sorry.
You were brutal and beautiful, and the looks you were giving Rob, chef's kiss. Perfect and funny. I watched the epic return with Scott, who crushed it on the show, and Black Phillip Alvarez on Zoom, and we had a blast. Well, I just wanted to share this little note with you both. Congrats on the return, and once again, I highly recommend this film, and I hope you both enjoy it.
Aww.
Tom Jr. Jackson. Well, here's to Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
That made me think of saying shame to Cersei Lannister.
Shame.
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 Shame. So, this next letter comes from Joe Dick, a new, very prolific letter writer. Hi, Rob and Elizabeth. If you hadn't done Scott Pilgrim for WINEning, I probably never would have watched it. Back in 2010, I saw the trailer and thought, no thanks. But now I know it must be one of the worst trailers ever made because it gives a false impression of the movie. I kind of liked and hated this movie. Parts of it I loved. Seeing the text and other effects on the screen to give it a comic book feel I quite liked, but I agree that the human story was lacking. I've liked a lot of Edgar Wright's other work. I love Shaun of the Dead, particularly loved Hot Fuzz and liked World's End. In these, they did a good job of establishing real human characters with some depth. We got enough backstory and other stuff so that despite all the craziness later, there was verisimilitude. I guess in this movie, the fights had to be like a video game. No one would believe Michael Cera could kick anyone's ass other than maybe in a video game. If he'd been jumped by those guys in Australia, he'd have been on that year's list of celebrity deaths, or at least on the lists of celebrities savagely beaten. So it kind of worked, but I found lacking due to the weakness of the characters. I'm not a gamer, but I wasn't bothered by the video game references. In a way, not understanding added verisimilitude for me. Sort of like in Primer, the incomprehensibility of a lot of it was part of the charm. By the way, at first disappointed when you decided not to do Primer after all, but when I wrote that I was looking forward to it, that was before I'd rewatched it. I hadn't seen it since it came out, and I agree it would have been hard to find that much to say about it. Awesome movie, but you're right, it's mostly guys sitting around talking. Imagine trying to do a whining episode about My Dinner with Andre. You're absolutely right. In Field of Dreams, whether you like baseball or not doesn't matter because it's not about baseball. I didn't question where the ghost players came from or how Ray traveled in time or any of the other magical stuff because of the human story. Or in Groundhog Day, they wisely cut the explanation for how he ends up in a time loop. It doesn't matter because the point is the lesson he learns. In About Time, the point is, like in Field of Dreams, the relationship of a father and son and the time travel stuff is just a different way to get to that. I loved Shall We Dance, even though I have zero interest in ballroom dancing. Perhaps I can interest you in a movie about tango. It's about the characters. But in Scott Pilgrim, I was taken out of it a lot because the characters are all so thin. Maybe it's a problem with the source material. I thought after I should read the comic to see what it's like. That's not required to understand or appreciate the movie, of course, but it might help. I always like to relate things back to Star Trek if I can. This reminds me of a Next Generation episode where Geordi and Data debated the merits of reading the source material. Geordi saw no reason when he could live the story on the holodeck, but Data thought the source material might give him greater insight. As a Canadian, I did enjoy seeing Toronto for once as Toronto. They didn't have to hide the pizza locations in the background. They even made locations like that a key part of the story and not just background. It's always funny when you see a suburban Toronto street standing in for Queens or Chicago or something. This movie kind of feels like it took place 10 years earlier than it did in some ways. The cell phones seem older than cell phones from 2010. It's true because iPhones came out in 2007. They're almost on par with the one Travolta uses in Pulp Fiction when he's driving the ODing poo bag in the back and has to flip open his phone with one hand and pull the antenna out with his teeth. So not quite that old, and it's not a criticism, but it's funny how easy it is to forget how much that technology has advanced in a decade. When they were in the record store, I found myself wondering how many record stores are still around these days. Can't be very many. April Ludgate had that high-fidelity snootiness I doubt you'd find today. Now they're probably so desperate for your business that 2 steps in the front door and they'd be going down on you. Verisimilitude was stretched a bit as well with Scott's preference for Ramona over Knives. I get that he wasn't that into Knives anyway, but as a 22-year-old dude, I would have been much more interested in her. She must have been a lot smarter than Ramona based on the books she was getting out at the library. Maybe he didn't like her that much because she was so into him, whereas Ramona wouldn't cross the street to spit on him. People are weird that way. Reminded me of Daisy in Downton Abbey, who seemed to want guys who had no interest in her, but if their attitude changed, she would reject them. The Knives character reminded me of Margaret Yang, totally, from Wes Anderson's Rushmore. Scott didn't deserve to end up with her at the end any more than he deserved Ramona. I thought a better ending might have been for the two of them to both reject him. He could have still learned his lesson and applied to future relationships.
Yep.
Anyway, Ramona's pretty enough, but not exactly a young Gal Gadot. She seems like an average girl. Scott is definitely meant to be a douche, I know. At the party, Aubrey Plaza lays out his past douchiness, which included screwing over Alison Pill as well. They needed him to be a douche for him to be able to learn a lesson, but it was kind of hard to watch him be such an ass to Knives, who adored him. Hard to watch, despite it being fiction. In Romeo and Juliet, when Romeo meets Juliet, he instantly forgets about Rosalind. He doesn't two-time both of them until he figures out which one will pan out. I could also imagine Knives as the only one whose life was going anywhere. I could see a Scott Pilgrim 2 where they're all still bums and Knives has a good job. A bit like in Trainspotting 2 where everyone from the first movie is still on Skid Row, except for Kelly MacDonald. Have you done Trainspotting for WINEning? That's an idea. Awesome movie. So is Trainspotting 2, by the way. Like you, Rob, I wondered if I was too old for this movie. As I said at the start, I like and dislike it, but maybe if I was the age of the characters when I saw it, or younger, I might have loved it. I don't think being a gamer would have increased my enjoyment, but who knows? I'm glad you chose this one, Elizabeth. In 2010, I'd let a bad trailer keep me from seeing it. I'd have to try the comics too, and see what they're like. I'm not a gamer, but I do like comic books. I was a little weirded out by the Kieran Culkin character. He's a good actor, but the character seems a little dated now. The gay guy whose only purpose is to make the occasional wise or funny or bitchy comment. I did find myself thinking repeatedly, not as criticism, that he kind of looks like a transporter accident merged his brother Macaulay with Tobey Maguire from Spider-Man 3. Yet he still did have some funny lines, and like I said, a good actor. There weren't any bad performances. It's nice also to see that dude as Neil, who played the guy in 21 Jump Street, who dies on the camera of HFS, aka holy fucking shit. And of course, Alison Pill was in Midnight in Paris as Zelda Fitzgerald. She was also good in the TV show The Newsroom, despite the show not being that great, or at least being very pretentious. A much better series of the same name is the late 90s Canadian The Newsroom, which is a comedy. It might be pretty dated now, though. So overall, I did like this movie. I liked it more than I disliked it. The music was pretty good. A lot of the time, it just seemed trying to be way too hard to be cool, and by doing so becomes massively uncool. I just wish that the characters could have been fleshed out a bit more. The human story was a little lacking, which made the fantastical elements not gel as much as they would have. Mm-hmm. After watching it, I saw that I was looking at some of the work these actors had done subsequently, and looking for behind-the-scenes making of stuff like I usually do. I'm going to include the link to this YouTube video for Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, learning to play instruments. It turns out only 2 of them had ever played instruments before. Mark Webber had never played the guitar, but his character is the talent, which I thought was funny. He did a good job faking it. They had to get Michael Cera to play worse in order to keep Webber from looking too bad. Anyway, good pick. So here is the link to that behind-the-scenes thing from Scott Pilgrim. Well, Joe Dick, thanks for the great letters. Sayonara to you. I very much appreciate you writing in to us. Thank you so much. A great letter. Mm-hmm. This next letter comes to us all the way from Portugal from Mr. Mario Lopez. Hi, Robert and Elizabeth. Since there were mentioned 2 time travel movies in your show, Primer and Predestination, I decided to see both of them in order to better appreciate your program. From Primer, I can only say that I did not like the film. It happens. Regarding Predestination, I really liked it. My God, what a paradox. I take the opportunity to put here a list of films that are also related to time travel.
Awesome.
Or where time is somehow the theme. I hope you're going to include the Spanish film Time Crimes, which is amazing. Of course, I had to mention the Terminator films and the Back to the Future trilogy, but those are too well known, so I prefer to mention 8 others. So here is the list of those 8 movies in chronological order. Time Cop from 1984, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Was Time Cop 1984? Wasn't it later? Groundhog Day was 1993 with Bill Murray. The Time Machine, 2002 with Guy Pearce. By the way, Mario, The Time Machine from 2002 is a remake of George Pal's Time Machine from, I believe, 1960. Deja Vu from 2006 with Denzel Washington. In Time from 2011 with Justin Timberlake and Amanda Seyfried. Looper, 2012 by Rian Johnson. Instead of saying the names of the excellent actors who enter in this film, I prefer to say the director, of whom I only hate one movie, and you know which one I'm talking about. I have no idea what movie you might hate from Rian Johnson. None at all. Edge of Tomorrow, a.k.a. Live, Die, Repeat, with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt, which I love. Tomorrowland with George Clooney. From this list, I intend to review only those films that I've seen once in my life. Time Cop, The Time Machine, Deja Vu, In Time, Looper, and Tomorrowland. I would say to you, Mario, you should watch the original Time Machine with Rod Taylor and Yvette Mimay, produced by George Pal. Watch that instead. A question for you, Rob and Liz. Of these 8 movies, do you have any that you like more or something special that you want to mention? For me, my favorite on this list is Edge of Tomorrow. This film is metal. Yes, it is.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you have Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt.
What happens?
There's aliens invading the Earth, and Tom Cruise keeps getting killed. Goes back to... We'll watch it. I actually have the Japanese steelbook where the movie's actually called All You Need Is Kill, just like the manga. Maybe one day both of you could choose one of these for whining about movies, but with no hurry, I'm not pressuring anyone, not least because I'm a recent member of the PGS community, which I discovered through Midnight's Edge, and I know that I have so many shows of yours to see from your never-ending list, and it may be even that there's already a whining for one of those. I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. Rob, you can't imagine how I like your idea of, reading our letters. Power ran out my mouse. Of reading our letters, for giving us an opportunity to share our ideas, and my particular case, letting me dream a little bit that I'm somehow more connected to something that I really love, which is the cinema and movies. Thank you very much for what you're doing. Mario Lopez.
That was a great
What a great letter, Mario. I mean, I want to thank you for taking the time to write in.
We should do some of those movies.
Well, yeah, I mean, Edge of Tomorrow would be a great one.
Have I seen that?
Well, it's the Tom Cruise and...
I don't remember it.
I'll tell you what our next movie is, though.
What?
Our next movie is another Oscar-winning movie from this year that we're going to watch, and I think, which would be, of course, Promising Young Woman, which we're watching. I think we should have Dieter Bastian on when we review this.
Okay.
I think Dieter Bastian should be somebody.
Did you hear that, Dietz?
If Dieter's here, we should definitely have Dieter. Now, I didn't realize that my mouse was this dead. We'll see how much I can get out of this. But first of all, thank you, Mario, for writing in. Great letter.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm wondering, should we, we could actually have somebody on the show.
That'd
Well,
be awesome.
first of all, let's go over and see if anybody has anything to say here.
Dieter is here.
And Dieter sent us a super chat. Andrew Christie sends in a tip and says, "Love this movie. What I love is that they don't end up demonizing alcohol and that the leads don't end up in AA. It's a cautionary tale, but alcohol isn't the villain.
Yeah.
It definitely separates America's culture from the rest of the Western world. Yes, it does."
Yes.
Dieter Bastian says, "I hope, Rob, you're doing this Elizaviews at 0.05 blood alcohol content."
Well, we
Why,
are now.
yes, we are, Dieter. Yes, we are. Imram Jabbar says, "I loved Another Round. One of my favorite films of 2020. I'm glad you two enjoyed it. Have you seen Vinterberg's films Festin, that's the celebration, and or The Hunt?" Yes, and I own both.
I have not seen
Cheers to great movies. Well, I want to thank you for that.
Yes,
I
thank you.
appreciate that. So I don't know. I mean, I'm worried that about my mouse not having enough power to bring somebody on the film on the show. Well, we could try it. Should we do it?
Yeah, what will happen if you
I don't know.
can't leave it plugged in?
I mean, I can leave it plugged in. So here's the thing. There's 63 people watching. Would any of you like to join us on this show? Now, I would ask if you have been on our show before or been on Robservations. It's not that I'm being prejudicial against you, but it would be nice to have somebody who we have not seen come on the show.
Come on the show.
So if you want to come on the show and join us live on Elizabeth's Whining About Movies, you are welcome to do so. I'm going to drop the session into the live chat. But again, if you haven't been on, I prefer if you haven't been on the show to not sign up and see if anyone else will do it. So I'm going to drop that in here now to see if any of you would like to come on Elizabeth's and talk to us. There it is in the live chat. If you have a decent camera and a decent microphone,
come on.
Come on down. If not, Andrew Christie says, it's glorious watching you two on my 86-inch TV in my new apartment drinking a good cab.
Ooh,
Cheers to having whining back. Well, Andrew Christie, thanks for the support of the channel. I very much appreciate that.
Don't look at my pores.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. We'll kill. Let's hear. Somebody is here.
Ooh, who's
Somebody's
here?
going to join us, and we shall see who that person is. First of all, we're going to need to get this to actually hear. Let's see who's going to come on whining about movies. Who is this? Don't know. Justin. Let's see. Justin and I think I've added. Hang on. Put that on. Cardinal Sin, you've already been here before. I said nobody who's been here before can come on. Justin left.
Oh.
So Cardinal Sin, since you've been on the show, I said we want to get people who hadn't been on the show before. So we still are waiting.
Is there anyone else?
I don't mean to not add you, but I did ask for people who hadn't been on the show before to do it. So we're still waiting. If you want to come on the show, if you haven't been on the show before, we're waiting for someone who hasn't. Maybe no one will come on the show.
Oh, come on.
But
we're easy to talk to.
Yeah.
No.
Well, because I Gil has been on the channel before, so I was hoping we'd get somebody who hasn't been on the show before. But Whining's Peen says, bring on Cardinal. The Cardinal's been on the show.
Well, if he's the only one.
Well, all right. We're going to bring on Cardinal. Everyone's chicken except Cardinal. It's okay. It's don't think of it as being hang on, Gil. Let me put you in the show. Put me in, coach.
We can have two people if somebody else wants to come on.
Yeah, no, we actually can have two people. You know what we'll do? We'll put him here. There's no reason we have to put him. Okay, we got Gil and Donnie, who we've also had on the show. Donnie wants to come on.
Black Phillip also, I think.
Okay, hang on. Let me get Cardinal Sin put in to where we're at now.
Is everyone else shy? These are the non-shy guys.
Yeah, the non-shy guys. I mean, what can you do? So, hang on a second. Have you guys seen the movie? Well, you haven't even seen the movie and you want to come on the show? Yeah, well, that's okay. Well, we're going to bring Donnie on all the way from Canada. Hello, Donnie. Hang on, let me get you guys both in here.
Have you seen it, Donnie?
He hasn't seen it either. Yes. But that's all right. Well, welcome Cardinal Sin and Donnie to the show. Both of you are live on Elizabeth's Whining About Movies.
You're alive.
Hello.
Hello.
So neither one of you have seen this film?
No.
I haven't. But
so, well, what is your what is your opinion about alcoholism?
Alcoholism has been a very good thing to me.
All right.
No, actually, I just wanted to say hi to Elizabeth because I've never been able to say hi to her face to face, as it were.
That's true. You were on Rob's show. You've never been on this one.
Yes, and although I haven't seen this movie, I will. It's the first time I've heard of it, actually.
Oh.
And I was unaware that it existed. I'm mad about Mads. So
amazing.
He's amazing.
He is.
And this film did win the Academy Award for Best
did.
International Film this year.
Yeah.
There you go. And actually, Rob, you turned me on to Hannibal, Brian Fuller's show.
It's amazing.
And
Yeah,
I'm mad about Mads in that. It's by far the greatest of all of the interpretations of Thomas Harris's work.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's
Have
really
you
good.
seen all 3 seasons?
Yes.
It's incredible. I
Yeah.
wish they could do a 4th.
Yeah.
The fact that Clarice got made is such a slap in the face. That Alex
Yeah,
Kurtzman
actually,
of all people.
I was just saying in the chat that only Alex Kurtzman would look at the success of Brian Fuller's Hannibal TV series and think to do a Clarice TV show.
Well, you'd think that Alex Kurtzman would have secured the rights and allowed Fuller to continue on, because that was the
Yeah.
plan for the 4th season of Hannibal that they've been trying to get made.
And Kurtzman shut it down?
Well, but Kurtzman was able to get the rights to do Clarice Starling, and it's, Kurtzman basically came in and weaseled his way in and got a co-creator credit on Discovery, and Fuller was ousted, and his own people that he brought in stood by. I mean, it's a really ugly story, and it makes me, the fact that they went and made Clarice after Brian Fuller did the 3 seasons of Hannibal,
which
I do not forgive.
Which took Kurtzman's eye off the ball of Star Trek, and was which is what allowed Akiva Goldsman to really sink his teeth into Strange New World.
His eye was never on the ball of Star Trek. It was just a business decision. They're getting paid. They're making a lot of money. I get it.
It's abysmal, a failure of legendary proportions.
So, Donnie, what about you, sir? Obviously, Canada. What's that?
I got a quick question on the Hannibal topic. Rank those three movies with Anthony Hopkins. What are your favorites?
I would say to me it's Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal, and Red Dragon.
I really liked Red Dragon a lot.
Yeah, see, I can't go. I found that Red Dragon. I mean, I love the performances. I love Ralph Fiennes as Francis Dollarhide, but I just feel the direction was so by the numbers. Whereas I thought Manhunter's
awesome.
More style, and the only reason they made Red Dragon is so they could have Anthony Hopkins come back and play Hannibal Lecter. And
but I have to say, for my money, I really think that Red Dragon. It's a movie you can sink your teeth into, and Ralph Fiennes really gets to show his acting chops as well as his workout chops, I guess. I mean, he's pretty hunky in the movie, but
but Tom Noonan as Francis Dollarhide and Manhunter, I thought he was scary, but he also had empathy, and you almost had sympathy for him.
And I mean, the source material is great. Thomas Harris is always good, but I don't know, Elizabeth. How would you rank the 3 movies?
Honestly, I don't remember the details.
Since this is Elizabeth Views.
I did see them. I do love Silence of the Lambs. I did see it at a film festival when it came out.
Oh, groovy.
And I thought it was pretty scary. I was pretty young. When did that come out?
Came out in 91?
I was going to say 1990 or 1991.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, I have
was
good
1
memories
years
with that.
old.
I mean, it's a scary movie, but I saw it with my dad and at a film festival, and the Cleveland Film Festival. So I thought it's pretty special for me.
Donnie, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just saying. I was 1 years old. I'm 30. I was one when that movie came out.
So you did not see Silence of the Lambs in the theater.
No, but I will say I was that kid that was. I had pay-per-view like on my cable package in like the early '90s. So I was exposed to those R-rated movies and this and that. So nothing phases me. It didn't warp my mind or anything. But it's just I could watch anything, blood, gore, this, that. Yeah, it's nothing. But
I have to say,
the one movie that really freaked me out ever, and I don't know why, but I couldn't sleep for like a week. It was M. Night Shyamalan Signs.
Me too.
I haven't.
I was
seen
probably 12 or something when I saw that. I couldn't look out my window at night. I had to have the blinds shut.
Well, Signs does have one of the great alien reveals in any movie ever.
Absolutely.
The TV broadcast. And I have to say, Joaquin Phoenix's reaction to it is pretty great. No, you can't.
Yeah.
They said they can't hear me.
I know. Speak louder.
I don't know if I can
Yes,
speak
you can.
louder.
Yeah, you can speak
You must
louder.
speak
But
from
anyway,
your
well-
diaphragm. She can't speak from her diaphragm.
I'm trying.
That's better.
More
Black
cowbell.
Phillip saw the film and he wanted to come
Man,
on.
Oh,
please,
okay, well,
every
listen.
time people ask for more cowbell, I'm just
Yeah.
like, can you not think of anything else from me that you would want except more cowbell? I put my jeans on one leg at a time, but when I'm done, I make gold records.
Well, listen, gentlemen, we've got Black Phillip Alvarez has seen the movie, has seen another round. So we're going to say goodbye to you, but thanks for being here. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And
Robbie, I got one question though. One question for you before you go. Okay, I'm not the biggest Star Trek connoisseur, and I'm trying. All right, give me 3 either movies or a specific episode. Give me 3 specific things to watch for Star Trek. Whether
Balance
it's
of
one
Terror.
episode, a full movie, or something.
Well, you can't. You have to watch you have to start with the original series.
I did. I'm about 5 episodes in.
Okay, you're
Have
5
you seen
episodes
Balance
in.
of Terror yet?
No, you wouldn't have got to Balance of Terror yet. So what do you think of the original series?
I love the old school, as corny as it is.
Especially with the updated effects.
Well, I would say just continue on with the original series because
Okay.
you're going to get to episodes in the by the way, let me ask you this. Did you start with an episode called The Cage with Captain Pike?
I'll say this: I am not paying attention to the titles of each episode.
Okay, good. But was there ever another captain of the Enterprise other than Kirk?
Kurok?
No, not that I.
Okay,
I
good.
don't
That's the
think
way it should be. People that watch The Cage first drive me crazy because that's not the way it should be done. Just keep watching. Just keep watching the first season. That's all you need to be doing. Then go into the
Because
second
it was a
season.
rejected pilot.
And when you
And
get to the third
It's
season,
good, though.
when you get to the third season, I'll give you a curated list so you don't have to go through the whole thing.
And I'll say this: sorry for coming back on. I know it's like I felt like you were calling like me and others. If
No,
you've
no,
been
no,
here
no.
already-
No,
Donnie,
not at all.
weren't the 2 of us on before already together?
Oh yeah. Oh, Donnie's been on this is your 4th time, 5th time.
Yeah,
He's been on this show.
But
Yeah, but
we've been on
I
together
was
before,
waiting.
right?
I
What's
was
that?
waiting.
We've
Yeah.
been on together before, Donnie and I.
No.
Not
Well,
on this show.
I am trying to
On
get
this show?
Yeah, not on this show. I'm trying to get other people to come on the channel just to
I know.
get people to see your face. You know?
Yeah.
But not that we don't love you, because we do. Midnight Metal's fine.
But no one was coming on, so I was waiting.
It's
waiting.
true.
Yeah, all right. Give
But I
other
just want
people
to
a
I want to
chance.
thank
No
you
worries,
both
don't feel
for
bad.
I want to thank
We're
you
glad
both
to
for
have
coming
you.
on.
Yes, thank you.
And I'll see if
We'll
anybody
get
else,
both.
but thank you both for being here.
Bye.
So, what we're going to do is bring on more people. And
Philip, come on.
let's see. Okay, it's open. So, let's see. We're going to disconnect from there. It was good to see both Donnie and Gil. Okay, Justin is here.
Oh, is this who tried before?
Yes, but I don't see them.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay, just Justin. Not seeing you. Maybe okay, just Justin isn't here. Black Phillip Alvarez, if you would like to come on the show, okay, just Justin is here.
Ah, yay,
Can you hear us? Okay, we can hear you too. Okay, we're gonna put you in, Coach. Hang on. I've got to do a little editorial action before you can come on the show. And I'm gonna Cardinal Sin is leaving. Okay, and I'm gonna get that. Hang on a second. Out of here. Hold, please. And now I'm going to add you. Okay, just Justin. I have to make you. Well, you know what? I'll. That'll be interesting.
Just put them on the side.
Yeah,
There's two of them.
I can put them on the side, but yes, there's two of them. Then we have to
There.
lean inside. Like, there we go. We'll lean in closer.
Lean in.
Okay. So, okay, just Justin and
And guest.
and guest and lady friend. Okay, just Justin and lady friend are there, and let's see if Black Phillip Alvarez is with us too. Hello, Black Phillip
There he
Alvarez.
is.
Let me find you and put you into the show as well. Black Phillip Alvarez from Texas joining us. Let's see. That's good. Hey, just Justin, have you both seen Another Round?
First of all,
Oh, they have.
what are your names? I mean,
Well, hang on a
Justin
second.
and-
They might not want to tell us their names.
you-
They might have government. They might be government operatives.
Sorry, I just didn't want you to call the
That's
guest
okay.
just a guest. If
No,
she
you got to
wanted-
call them just Justin because that's what they say.
Just
Unless they've
Justin.
given us proper. I mean, we have to exercise proper internet etiquette. If they want us to say something else, and call them
My
something
name
else.
is Marie.
Marie.
Yeah, see?
Well, Marie and
Justin and
okay,
Marie.
just Justin. We got
Justin.
Justin and Marie. What a great couple's name, by the way. I don't want to make any assumptions. You could be brother and sister. You could be husband and wife. You could be just your. I think you're.
Strangers.
I had two strangers. It could be a first date.
Could be.
We
You
just
never
met.
know.
We've not. Yeah.
You just met?
No, we're a couple.
Oh, you're a couple. That's good. So are you okay? And he's just Justin.
He's Justin, and I am Marie.
But are you okay?
Oh, am I okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then just kidding.
Definitely okay.
Okay, so
we
hang
were-
on. Let me. Since I've never had a couple on
I
the
know,
show
this is
before,
great.
so I gotta
Yeah, we're
ask
putting
you,
our heads together.
as a couple, what was the first movie the two of you ever went and saw together?
In the theater?
Well, it's
Yes.
been COVID, so was it the Tom Hanks movie?
Yeah, we saw News of the World in the theater.
Oh, so you're a new couple,
Yeah, new.
Less than a year, yeah.
less than a year. You're a COVID couple.
It's a COVID
That's
couple.
right. We're
Did you guys
COVID
meet
couple. We had our
online?
masks
Did you meet?
on the whole
Did you
time.
meet like shopping at the grocery store and you couldn't see each other because you had masks
Just the
on?
eyes.
Yeah.
We
And
met. we met playing sort of like a what was it
Ultimate
called?
Frisbee.
Ultimate Frisbee.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
is what.
Ultimate Frisbee was very big in my college. We had an Ultimate Frisbee team.
Were you
So-
any good?
I didn't play. I was actually I was okay because I'd been playing with a frisbee my whole life. Frisbees were very big in my neighborhood growing up. So where are you guys located?
We're in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh,
Ah.
home of George Romero. The Monroeville Mall is an hour away from you guys. I've been to Pittsburgh once. I love Pittsburgh.
Oh,
Yeah,
Pittsburgh is a great drinking town.
But I have to say, Pittsburgh is the rival city of Cleveland.
It is.
yeah.
Now
Where
let me
I'm
ask you
from.
this.
Where I'm from.
Yeah, she's from Cleveland. So have you both seen Another Round? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
We actually.
okay.
We,
Awesome.
So let me ask you first, since you're here, what did the two of you think of Another Round?
You want me to go? I really enjoyed it. A lot of the things that you were talking about earlier about its portrayal of alcohol, not demonizing it, it showed some of the risks that were involved as far as like Tommy goes, but it showed it. I think what Elizabeth was saying, it wasn't that it was the tool that opened them up and made them experience their life with more vigor, but it was sort of like the plot device that did that.
yeah.
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 I liked
I like-
how complicated it was too. It wasn't straightforward. It wasn't an easy answer. Like you guys were talking about how, movies in the United States, if people younger than 21 drinking is only portrayed as negative. And this movie was so much more nuanced and complex than anything that we could show here in the United States. So I really appreciated that, because that's what life is like. It's complex. There aren't any straightforward answers to any one situation.
So how do you feel about the idea of remaking this in America?
I think it's going to be weird. I'm curious. Yeah. I don't imagine that it could be anything like the original intent of the movie, simply because of the difference in cultures. Mm-hmm. You were saying, Elizabeth, you can't be a teacher and give a 16-year-old a drink. So what's going to be their analog of that?
Yeah.
I completely agree. Now, Black Phillip, let me ask you. You've seen the movie too. And we got Texas. We got Texas. You're down in Texas. We got Pittsburgh up there. Two great states where drinking is not a taboo. So, what did you think of the film?
I thought it was very good. I thought it was a bit more of a comedy, like you said at first, but I thought the acting was superb, and like you said that the handling of alcohol wasn't like as she said in a negative sense. It was kind of like used as a way to tell us the story between them as friends and how it affected their personal relationships, and I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed the movie a lot.
Now, are you a Mads Mikkelsen fan? Had you seen him before on Hannibal or in Casino Royale or any of the?
Seen him in Casino Royale and Doctor Strange and
right.
He was in one of the Star Wars films, right?
Yes,
Rogue One.
He was in Rogue
One. Yeah. I like all those movies.
He's Ginger. He's a great actor.
He should have got nominated for this film. Honestly, did he get nominated or not?
I think he was actually.
Yeah.
And the film's been winning lots of awards. I mean, I'm a huge fan of his.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so am I.
And
he was really good in this movie.
Yeah, really, really good in this movie.
Mm-hmm. The movie where he crashes in the cold weather area. It's him versus nature.
Oh yeah, what is that movie called?
I forget. I really like that. It's gritty.
Yeah. I haven't seen that. I've just seen the trailer for that. He's a great actor. He was in Nicholas Winding Refn made a movie I think called Valhalla that he stars in. A period piece, but he's an incredible actor. So now let me ask you this, you guys, did you watch this movie before it was an Academy Award contender, or did you watch it because of the Academy Awards?
Before we knew it was an Academy Award contender. Not too long before. But yeah, we watched it a little bit before.
Did you see it in the theater, or did you watch it on streaming?
We streamed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you hear about it?
You're a Mads Mikkelsen fan. So
yeah, I'm a fan of his, and it's on a service. It's on a personal server.
Mm.
And I just looked at
it's
it.
that kind of a movie.
Gotcha.
It's called The Pirate Bay. Don't worry. Shh, I won't tell anyone. I bought the Blu-ray for all of us. So, that's all good. So, Black Phillip, what made you decide to watch the film? Did you watch it because of the Academy Awards?
Well, no. Catherine, who's in a group that we all have, as you know, she was the one that recommended it to everybody, and so did Tom Jr. Jackson. So yeah, I knew you all were covering it, so I hadn't watched it. So I actually watched it tonight, so it's still fresh in my mind. But I've been meaning to see it over the past couple of weeks, and tonight I finally got to see it. So those were the two people that recommended it, both Tom and Kat. So yeah,
well that's good.
I'd heard about it before. So yeah, it's always good when the movie is recommended to you through friends.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Now, Marie and Justin, let me ask you this: if you could have us do a movie, review a movie, what would that movie be?
Gosh, what have we seen lately? So I started watching you on Collider Heroes. So that really got me into the I've been getting.
That's how I found Rob.
I'm so old.
That's how I know Rob.
It's almost your birthday, babe.
One that we would have. What's one that I showed you that you like?
Recently? Oh man. So we've been watching a lot of shows. So now because I'm on the spot, I can't think of a movie that we've seen.
What shows have you been watching?
Because we're starting a new show.
new show
called
Yeah, we're doing a new show called What the F. She came up with
Whatever
it.
the F we're watching.
That's what it's called. Whatever the F we're watching.
And our first episode is on
I love
Thursday.
that title.
Yeah.
I was
Make
surprised. I was surprised how much I liked Mayor of Easttown.
You know what?
I
That's
didn't see
one of the
that.
next things. The new show on HBO that Kate Winslet stars in. Did you have you finished it or is it done yet?
It's only on episode 4 every Sunday at 9 or 10, I think.
Yeah.
And you guys love it? This is the next thing I want to watch.
It's surprisingly good. Yeah, it's good. But it is set in Pennsylvania, so maybe we're biased.
Oh, the accents are great. They made fun of them on Saturday Night Live, but the Murder My Daughter, the
Murder Dirter.
Murder Dirter was the skit on Saturday Night Live. But some of the
I lived in Philadelphia for several years. Actually, one
There
of my
you go.
daughters was born in Doylestown, so
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
they're
yeah.
very conservative alcohol-wise in Pennsylvania. Is it still like that? Like all liquor stores are closed on Sundays?
Yeah, it's a real pain in the ass.
it's
Yeah.
so they've been opening it up over the past couple years, and Giant Eagle, the big chain, sort of has liquor licenses. They're still not in gas stations, but in grocery stores, you're able to get wine. And
in certain
Yeah.
grocery stores, not every
Uh-huh,
grocery
'cause
store.
you weren't before.
Well, when I was growing up, I grew up in Washington State, and we had state liquor
too.
stores. You couldn't. Oh, you're from Washington?
Yeah, originally I grew up there.
Where in
Nice.
Washington?
Have you heard of a little town called Enumclaw?
Oh yes, they have a rodeo there.
Yeah, they
Small
do.
And the reason I know that is because I went to summer camp at the Flying Horseshoe Ranch that was outside. It was in Cleellum.
No. Okay, so Cleellum is eastern Washington. Enumclaw is western. It's about
Oh.
an hour and a half southeast of Seattle. It's right by the mountain.
Oh, it's right by. Okay.
Yeah. Wrong side
Why
of
am
the
I
mountain.
thinking? What? Oh, I'm thinking of Ellensburg.
There you go.
The
Yes,
Ellensburg
that's
rodeo.
where the rodeo is.
Enumclaw
Or-
is different. Yes, I haven't
Yeah.
lived there. I mean, I grew up 21 years. I'm from Mercer Island, which is
Oh,
by
okay.
Seattle.
So you're actually closer to me than you think you are, because
Yes.
Mercer Island is like close to Seattle.
Yes. Is
Right.
Enumclaw by Puyallup? Now I'm thinking about
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Good
now
pronunciation.
now I'm where the
Now
the,
you're in my neck of the woods.
yeah, you can do it at a trot, you can do it at a gallop, you can do it real slow so your heart won't palpitate. Just don't delay. Do the Puyallup. Yes.
oh wow,
Now I
Yeah.
remember all the people and the animals down by the fair doing the Puyallup. It's a different. Didn't have a care. You can do it alone with your husband
the
or
King
wife.
County Fair was in Enumclaw.
Right.
Small
That's
world.
right. I don't know. I can't
Yeah.
believe I mistook. I'm drinking wine. Ellensburg and Enumclaw.
Right.
You know.
I mean, it's sort of opposite. Enumclaw, Cleellum. You're actually not the first person to do that. When I say Enumclaw, most people are like, "Oh, Cleellum." No.
Yeah. No, that was
yeah.
because we all went to the Flying Horseshoe Ranch. Yes.
Yeah.
Now I know. When did
Yeah.
you move from Washington State?
So I moved from Washington to Oregon, and I actually moved to Pittsburgh 2 years ago. So I'm still yeah.
Oh,
I'm still a
so
West
you're a
Coast girl, right?
PNW girl.
Yeah.
You're from the PNW now and forever.
Yep. It's true.
Where in Oregon did you move to?
Eugene. I was there for 12 years.
Wow. Did you go to school there?
No, I moved for a job. I graduated from the Evergreen State College in Olympia, Washington.
Okay. Class. I went to Evergreen. I went to Evergreen 85 to 88, and then I transferred to USC. I was a gooey duck.
Okay. I started out at the University of Washington and then transferred in 2001 and graduated in 05. I took an extra year.
Did you ever have Brett Weinstein as an evolutionary biologist teacher?
oh my gosh.
No, I did not. I did
Ah.
not. I was in the molecular organism class
Crazy.
program. So I think my teachers were fairly new to the university.
Did you live in a dorm?
Not at Evergreen. I did at the University of Washington. But then when I was at Evergreen, I lived in a house
Yeah.
off campus.
I lived in the A dorm and C dorm.
Yeah. How was that? Dark and gray?
Oh, I can't imagine. I could. The stories I could tell you about the 5th floor of A dorm from 85 to 86, you would well, you'd believe them, but no one else would. It was
Right.
yeah.
So
Yep.
have you ever had a gooey duck?
I have.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
They're good, right?
They're pretty good, depending on how they're cooked.
What's a good
Right.
duck?
It's like a slug.
It's the mascot of the
slugs?
Evergreen
You
State
eat
College.
slugs?
Well, you gotta yeah.
Like a real slug?
It's a gooey duck.
It's a clam.
It's
It's
a
a clam.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a
With
clam.
with a really long neck.
Yes,
Okay.
it's kind of you wouldn't like it.
Really easy to make fun of.
Yes, they really are. That's the name of
Yeah.
it. Like that's when you said Ultimate Frisbee. That's where I played Ultimate Frisbee. Was at Evergreen.
They're, all right. Yeah.
And they
Wow.
had a team. I think they started the team. Chuck Bender was on the Ultimate Frisbee team
Okay.
at Evergreen. I think they started the Ultimate Frisbee team when I was at Evergreen. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's awesome.
I loved Evergreen.
It's a good place. Yeah. Did you sit
was-
on the floor for classroom?
No, we didn't. We did not sit on the floor. No, it was pretty because I was in communications, so it was always like it was always pretty. It had not gone too far. I mean, it was pretty crunchy, chewy granola, but all my classes we were either in lecture halls or in rooms, classrooms. It wasn't sitting on the ground. It wasn't like that.
Cross-legged in a
Evergreen
circle.
was probably different because I was there, although I will say it was very alternative. I mean, the largest group of, we'll call them minority students, the Lesbian Gay Student Coalition had the biggest organization on campus. And they also threw the best parties.
Yeah.
So you would not miss them.
That sounds
Do they
about
still
right.
have the Meadow Party where they brew vats of mushroom tea out in the woods on Super Saturday?
Yeah, yes. That happens still, as far as I know. Although I
Yeah,
haven't,
I mean, the
haven't
giant
been around.
vat I've never seen. It was like the biggest witch vat you've ever seen. You think body parts are in there, and for days people are just. It's nice to
Only
know some
mushrooms.
things didn't change. Well, that's an aside.
Yeah.
Black Phillip, back to
I was
another
enjoying the
round.
conversation. Don't worry about me. I was enjoying that
Small
conversation.
world.
Yeah.
Small
Yeah,
world.
well, I know, and
Talk about small
now
world.
Brett Weinstein, a former professor with 15 years tenure, is on the internet with his Dark Horse podcast because he got ousted by. I mean, I have to tell you, I do not recognize when I saw that 2017 student uprising.
Right.
I didn't recognize the Evergreen that I went to at all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry, we're a little sidetracked.
A little bit.
I'm sorry.
I was really engaged
Well-
in that conversation.
Well, listen. Do you guys have any Black Phillip? Do you have any wrap up comments to the movie Another Round?
For the movie, yeah, I'm glad y'all covered it because it was a really good movie. And like I said, I want them to make I don't know if they make an American version. I just don't want it to be, too how do you say it, too Americanized. And I think they should stick to the plot of the main film and stick with the alcohol and especially the interaction with the students. Like that one student. I just hope they don't. Yeah, like I said, they don't hesitate. Make
And
it,
just- Justin and Marie, what are your parting thoughts about Another Round?
Let me go.
You go.
I'd like to see Mads Mikkelsen have that kind of physicality in a movie. He's been a supervillain, but he's a trained dancer, and he got to do that a little bit at the end.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him with a more physical part, even bring him back for the American version of the movie. I think that would be
Yes.
an
That's
interesting
what I was about to
idea.
say. Just bring him back for the American version too. Why not?
Yeah.
And I guess Leo will be the lead in that probably since it's his production company, but you could put Mads in there somewhere.
Plus, I love the joie de vivre of that dance sequence at the end. It was really
Oh, it was
life affirming.
Awesome.
It was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was
It was
great.
really cool.
Well, we want to thank Justin and Marie for coming
Yes,
on,
thank you.
and Black Phillip
Hey, thanks for having
Alvarez
Yeah,
for coming
thank
on.
you.
Thanks for being on WINEning About
Please.
Movies, episode
Yeah,
129.
this is fun.
And join
Excellent.
us for what's our show called?
Oh, whatever the F we're watching.
Whatever the F
So,
we're watching.
WTFWW.
Oh, is that what it is?
Whatever the F we're
WWW.
watching.
So it's an acronym?
Well, no, I mean it's kind of a long
I didn't know that you
title.
made this up on live the other
I
night.
did. And that's
That was
just
great.
the
It's a
title
great
that
name.
came off the top of my head. But we could change the title.
We're not going
Oh, I
to. You
think
came
it's
up with
great.
it. We're not changing the title.
How do you guys feel about
I love the
that title?
title.
WTF
Awesome. That's like-
WW. I think
WTF
there should be
WWE.
wrestling involved or something.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Cage
too many W's.
Maybe we should just call it whatever the F we're watching.
Whatever the
Whatever the F
oops, I almost said.
Whatever the F we're watching. You can
Whatever
say
the F-
fuck. Everyone's so afraid
whatever
of
the
saying
F we're watching.
whatever the F we're watching.
What's that
Well,
t-shirt
we
gonna
want to
be
thank
like?
the
I'll
three
buy
of
it.
you for being on the show. So
Yes.
thank you for watching, and
Thank
we
you.
hope to see you again. The next movie is, of course, Promising Young Woman,
Yes, promising young woman.
which is what we're doing. Whatever the F we're watching on Thursday. So when are we doing this show? Friday.
we could do Friday if you want.
Okay, we'll be back Friday with Promising Young Woman.
Yep.
So
Alright.
so there
We'll
you
see
go.
you
We
Friday.
will say
There you go.
goodbye to you both. Thank you for coming on. I hope to
Thank
see you both
you.
again. All three of you.
Bye.
Black Phillip,
Bye,
I know I'm
bye,
going to
Liz.
see you again.
You'll
So
see me
have-
this weekend. You know you will.
I know. Well, have a good night, all of you.
Good night.
Well, that was pretty damn exciting. It was great having people from Pittsburgh and Texas
Yeah.
and someone who went to Evergreen.
Yeah. Wow.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
crazy.
But fun nonetheless. I mean, you never know what's going to happen on this show,
You never
which is
know.
turning into. I like having people. Do you like having people come
I
on
do.
randomly?
It's fun. Yeah.
It is fun, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's your show. I don't want to dominate or make you do what you want to do if you don't
No,
like
no,
it.
it's really fun having guests.
Okay, it's come fun having guests. We've come to it, Elizabeth.
Yes, we have.
The question is, our bottoms up scale. What is our bottoms up scale?
Our bottoms up is from 1 to 4 glasses because there are 4 glasses of wine in a bottle.
4 glasses of wine in a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And on a scale of 1 to 4 glasses of wine, what do you give another round?
I really, really, really enjoyed this film. I mean, I think I don't have any issues with it, so I'm going to give it 4 glasses.
4 glasses. You know what? I'm going to give this 4 glasses.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed
It
it.
deserves 4 glasses.
I mean, even the Lawrence of Arabia would get 4 glasses
And
for
it got
what
an
this
Oscar.
is. Yeah, it is. It's an Oscar-winning film. I'm
Yeah.
giving it 4 glasses too.
there you go.
I loved it. All right then. Well, that brings us to the end.
When are you going to release my part 2?
Oh, I'll release your part 2 tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, why don't you explain what it is?
Okay. So I make stop motion films with my action figures
And my action figures.
Rob's
Look,
action figures. The main character is an action figure that I made.
you made. You should say you're called Doll.
Her name is Doll. She's my inner voice. And part 2 is coming out. So part 1, it's Doll Quest Sci-Fi. And there's a part 1 already out on the channel. And part 2 is coming out tomorrow.
Part 2 is coming out tomorrow.
Yep. Doll Quest Sci-Fi part 2.
Doll Quest Sci-Fi Part 2. All right, well, look out for that. Someone's going to probably review that on their own Whining About Movies shift. So I don't know. I mean, what can I say?
Maybe.
All right, and on that note, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank the moderating staff. I want to thank Mike Bodden. I want to thank the Richard. I want to thank Brian Hepburn is here. I don't know who else is here. Brian Hepburn and the Richard, I think. Thank you guys for being here and doing a good job moderating. I want to thank everybody for supporting the channel via tips and super chats. Thank you all very much. If you want to send us a letter, you can at our website, theburnettwork.net. And send us a letter. It's free of charge. We'll read it live on the show.
Well,
Take us out.
everyone you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear, and all you have to do is listen.
And with that, we would say to everybody,
Have a better night.
have a better night. Thank you all for being here.
See you Thursday.
See you Thursday for
whatever the F we're watching.
whatever the F we're watching.